The VW Golf GTI is the quintessential hot hatch. After all, it was the Mark I version that kicked off the whole hot hatch genre in the mid-70s. Since then, it has evolved through 7 generations into this, the current model. The GTI has always been popular in rural Middle England and was never cheap. But now, more than ever, it looks and feels like the sort of car that you're likely to see pottering through villages that sound like they belong in the Archers. It feels, well, very grown up. You suspect that it's more likely to be found in the supermarket car park filling up with shopping than doing a handbrake turn late at night. So, when you head out onto a B road, is it still a credible hot hatch? Or is it all just a bit sensible? In performance pack trim, the Mk7 GTI dispatches the 0 to 60 mph sprint in 6.4 seconds. That's half a second quicker than the Mk6, but not as fleet of foot as things like the Seat Leon Cupra or Astra VXR, both of which dip into the 5s. Flat out, the GTI will do 153 miles an hour.
This Mk7 GTI has got the same EA888 TSI engine in it, 4 cylinders, 2 litres, and it's got more mid-range punch, but it's you drive it almost a bit like a diesel at times, but it's really, really good. I have to say, it's properly punchy and punches more than you would expect from the figures that you've got. As part of the performance pack, you get a limited slip diff. It's a slightly curious thing where the sort of clutch system pushes power to the wheel that actually sort of needs it more. Sounds a bit like torque vectoring to me rather than a sort of conventional limited slip diff, but it does work really well. You can spec as an extra the DSG box, which is the 6-speed DSG for the Golf, but we've got the manual, and I have to say I'm very pleased we have. Pedals are nicely spaced and it's a good shift as well, made all more tactile by having the golf ball gear knob. After the travesty that was the Mark IV Golf GTI, the Mark V was a real breath of fresh air. I ran one of those cars as a long-termer and it was just brilliant. I absolutely loved it. The Mark VI, to be honest, didn't feel like that big a leap on from the Mark V, but then with the MQB platform and the Mark VII, this car suddenly feels a lot sharper. We've got the 5-door car, and whereas before I would always said go for the 3-door if you can because it just feels that much stiffer, I suppose, in terms of body. With this car you can have the 5-door and there really doesn't seem to be any trade-off in terms of stiffness. If you press this rather prosaic looking little button down here which says mode, you can change various options, including the dampers. Now, whilst I've got the steering and engine set to sport, I've actually got the dampers set to their normal or middle setting, which I have to say I'd rather like, just because it gives the car a little bit more lean and you can just get it moving around a little bit more in the corners, just get it working. And to be honest, with that really nice stiff chassis and great body control, you can actually afford to have the suspension just a little bit softer to work on these roads and get the car moving a bit. This is really good fun, this car. It just feels so well tailored to the average British road as well. It rides it so well. The damping's really, really good. I think it's worth saying just what a nice place it is to be in here. The driving position you can get absolutely spot on as far as I'm concerned. The wheel just for both reach and rake, and the seats, well, it's obviously the tartan, which is brilliant in the original cloth trim. I can't understand why you'd want leather when you get this brilliant pattern to sit on. The bolsters themselves, I'm being really picky. They hold you well, but it's probably just because I'm a skinny so I kind of want them just to be a bit more huggy, I suppose.
At the end of the day, the GTI is great to drive. The way the damping copes with the UK's bumps and lumps is particularly impressive. It doesn't have the incisiveness and extreme adjustability to make it the dynamic benchmark for hot hatches. That gong still resides within Megane. But then it doesn't quite take the title of most luxurious, or most expensive, or fastest, or biggest, or smallest, or cheapest, or reddest hot hatch either. It is simply the consummate all-rounder. The car that can do it all with a build quality to boot. And it somehow continues to define the hot hatch as a result.
Pinch a phrase from Richard Meaden: it plays the averages without being in any way average.